This morning I'm at this beautiful park, and one of the things I really love about this park is all the trees, the magnificent trees. So many different types. You know, I was thinking about these trees, and I realized, actually I wondered, how many different varieties of trees aren't there in this world? I suspect that God created as many trees as He did humans. That is, different types of trees, different shapes and sizes. You know, I was reading recently in the book of Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament, the wisdom literature in the Bible. I was reading about trees. And the scripture was telling me that when a tree falls to the south, it stays to the south. And if it falls to the north, it lies to the north. And you know, I was really puzzled by that. I started thinking about that and wondering more. And you know, as I thought about it, I realized that our lives are like that. I think that trees fall in whichever direction they're leaning. If they're leaning to the north, they fall to the north, and that's why they lie there. If they're leaning to the south, then they lie to the south because they happen to be leaning that direction. And you know what? I thought a little more about that, and I realized that us humans are like that too. We will lean either one direction or another. And I'm wondering, what direction are you leaning? Are you leaning towards God, or are you leaning away from Him? You know, when we go through really tough times, it's really tempting to run away and to hide from God. And yet we know there's no place where we can go where God isn't present. It reminds me of a time when I was a young girl, she was 13, and tragically my father was killed in a car accident. Instead of leaning into God, I was so confused and angered and sad by that whole situation that I actually leaned away. And for many, many years I found myself struggling and asking why. It was this very painful time all through my teens and actually through most of my 20s. I questioned God, and I wondered, why would He take my father away? So in other words, I leaned away from God. You know, and now that I've been, hopefully have grown in wisdom and years, I've learned to lean into God a little bit more. So my question is this: which way are you leaning? Are you leaning into God, into His warm embrace, or are you leaning into the world? When you go through the rough times in life, financial difficulties, health problems, relationship problems, are you counting on Him to hold you and caress you and surround you with His love? I encourage you to do that. God's there for you. Lean into God.